Quackity is one of the last people who was originally confirmed in the very first stream, where Tommy and it pretty much talked about how both Technoblade and Quackity already said that they're going to be joining the server, hence they've already been whitelisted, and they'll just be joining when they have the time in the future. In today's video, we're going to be going over a few fan ideas and fan origins for Quackity to use when he does eventually join the server. Whether they actually get used or not is a different question, but these are pretty cool fan ideas that I thought I would go over and cover in a video for you guys to listen over. And he has a lot of new people watching my content as of recently, and if you are new around here and you've been enjoying your stay so far, I would highly appreciate if you go down and hit the subscribe button down below. It's 100% free. It'd be highly appreciated, and also smash the like button down below for the algorithm as well. Either way, let's get started. So unlike the Technoblade one, I do have a lot less origins to cover in a video, but that means we'll be going a bit more in detail and covering the more detailed ones in a little bit more depth, so you have a bit more of an understanding of it. But of course, as always, the links to all of them are down below, so you can go check them out yourselves. So some of these do have potential downloads to them, or may have them in the future if they don't have them already. So the first one we'll be going over is one called Goose. Essentially, the idea behind this origin is the fact that it's based upon the Goose from the Untitled Goose game. Essentially balanced chaos. Let's roll through the pros and cons. Pro 1, Snatch. Gain the ability to snatch items from players, mobs, and blocks with bonuses for doing so. Primary ability, 1 minute of a cooldown. Essentially, according to the person who created this Reddit post, how it's meant to work is the fact that you have a percentage chance to steal a random item from the player's inventory. It changes based upon what you're taking it from. Essentially, if you try and snatch something off of a player, you have a 24% chance to take something from their main hand, from their hotbar, from their inventory slot, and there's a very tiny percent chance you'll take a piece of armor, which could lead to absolute chaos. There's also the temporary flight ability, where you gain the ability to fly either diagonally up or down or horizontal for 10 seconds, which has a 1 minute cooldown. And because you're a water bird, you move slightly faster in water, around 20%, and breathe slightly longer underwater, an extra 10 seconds underwater. And the final pro is odd survival tactics. When killed, can survive up to 2 deaths within a 2-minute period, but each death will result in your inventory being scattered all over the place, with things being worse the second time round. Essentially, how the person's explained this one to work is that when you take enough damage to take your first death within these 2, anywhere from none to 8 of the items within your inventory will be dropped and scattered in the area. And if you die another time within the 2-minute period of the first death, you will lose everything out of your inventory, but you'll still be standing there. Essentially speaking, when you die the second time, the 2-minute cooldown starts all over again. If you die again in that 2-minute time frame, you'll die for real. Going through the negatives, you have hollow bones, aka you only have 4 or 5 heart. The next con is by far the biggest one out of the lot, is big storage. You only have 9 inventory slots and only 3 hotbar slots, with no offhand available, but full armor is retained as normal. This is essentially meant to be a counter towards the snatch ability, to mean that you can't just continuously snatch everyone's items, because if you have a full inventory, you can't exactly snatch anything from an enemy player. But I do personally believe this might be a bit of an overkill negative. It could be reworked to be slightly better. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But the next one is Flying Clutch. Despite having the hollow bones and the ability to fly, you actually take double kinetic damage. This would probably be where I would remove the fall damage that you would take if you're flying around, or maybe remove the 1 minute cooldown on flying. Like, you have 10 seconds of flight and then the flight stops and you don't have the flight back until you hit the ground. But either way, that's the origin of a goose, inherent the soul of the obnoxious one. The next fan origin idea that we're going to be taking a look at is the wandering trader idea. So going through the pros and cons, the pros are you have deep pockets, which is a 9 additional inventory slots, quite similar to how the fox's mouth works, as it also won't drop on death. Keen-eyed collector. Occasionally the 9 extra internal inventory slots have a chance of filling up with a random number of items that are found within the wandering trader's loot table, as well as a lower chance of rarer and grindier items. The next pro is trade secret. You get better trades from wandering traders, slightly better trades from regular villagers, aka buffing villager trades. The mostly a pro is the necrophilia ability. You will turn invisible when night falls, but this will wear off after 2 minutes. Find shelter before then. The cons of this origin is no free lunches. Any items that have accumulated in the internal storage that were not put there by you will disappear upon death. Essentially, any items put there by the keen-eye collector ability will disappear if you die. A targeted market. Zombies and all illager types will target you over anyone else. They can also see you from a further distance and are also faster when chasing against you. And last but not least, the blatant bias. You cannot breed or tame any animal that is not a llama. This origin here was based upon the idea of Quackity's recent role of being a brutal businessman in the Dream SMP. And aside from maybe the targeted market, there isn't really too many overly strong pros or overly strong cons that make this a very blatantly underbalanced origin. Honestly, I kind of feel like it fits the Quackity character fairly well, especially with how he's been on the Dream SMP as of late. But moving on to the last origin of choice for today. Next origin is Avesian. Essentially, this origin is a race which is a mixture of a duck and a human that is usually seen by the lakes catching fish. Running through the pros and cons, we have waterfowl. Being near water will give you jump boost 1, strength 2, and speed 1, aka a bit overkill when near water. You also have webbed feet. Pressing G will activate webbed feet. This will give you speed 2 and make you take 50% less fall damage. Bread lovers. Bread will give you 6 hunger bars instead of the usual amount, and it will also give you 2 extra hearts for 30 seconds, almost like a golden apple without the resistance effect. The cons of this origin is small body. You are 2 times smaller than usual players. This means that you'll have difficulty going up slabs and reaching higher blocks. Water habitat. You spawn in the nearest water from the usual spawn. Being away from water will give you weakness and slowness 1, and pescatarian, where you can only eat plant items or fish. This also means that you have a bonus chance with fishing, similar to having luck of the sea 1 on every fishing rod you use. There's another variation to this idea within the comments of this Reddit post where they claim that this original one's a bit too powerful and this is a more of an alteration through it, going through the pros and cons. The pros would be web feet. You can walk on water and have speed 1 and strength 1 while you do so. Bread lover, you get twice as much hunger from eating bread and none of the golden apple effects. Natural fisher, you don't need a fishing rod to find aquatic creatures to feed on. You have the ability to instantly fish up an item from the fishing table when totally submerged in water, with a cooldown of 15 to 20 seconds. Rain lover, when you're in rain, you gain speed 1, jump boost 1, and slow falling. And natural swimmer, your swimming speed is slightly faster and you take twice as long to run out of air. And the alterations to the weakness is small stature. Of course, you're 1.5 blocks tall and have 3 fewer hearts. Pescatarian, you can only eat plant-based foods and fish-based foods. And drought hater, you have weakness 1 and slowness 1 when in hot biomes. So these were some pretty fun fan origin ideas for Quackity. And honestly, I see the nice idea behind them, but sometimes when it comes to these fan origins, sometimes some of the pros just way outweigh the cons, or the cons are way too bad when compared to the pros you get out of the origin itself. I want to start this as an actual series where we go over some fan ideas for some fan origins for certain people in the SMP, or even people who might potentially join the SMP in the future. So let me know down in the comments below who you would like me to sift through some fan ideas for first. But either way, I'm going back to the dark place which I once came. Make sure to subscribe and like the video down below. Either way, goodbye.